Thank you. This is the RM of Springfield meeting agenda for November the 18th of 2025, starting at exactly 6 p.m. I'm Mayor Patrick Therrien. All of Council is present, and I'll identify them. To my right in the descending order is Deputy Mayor Fuel. Next will be Councillors Kuczynski, Miller, and Warren. So the meeting is called to order. If I can, we'll do the land acknowledgement. The RM of Springfield acknowledges that we are gathered on ancestral lands, Treaty 1 territory, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, Dene's people, and on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. The agenda is before us there. If I'd like to move new business 10.1 in front of delegations, just because Ryan has to get back to training. Council in agreement with that? I see all acknowledgement towards that there. Any other adjustments? A mover and a seconder for the approval of the agenda, please. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add under new business some information on Sio Silica. Just came hot off the plate this afternoon, so I would just term it as Sio Silica.
Have we got a copy of that?
No, because I just received it, but you can have a copy of it. I don't know who would make it for you, but we can definitely make it available, I'm sure, to you.
Okay. Is it just a one pager or something?
Two
pages? Yeah, if we can get a copy of that there, and then we can add it to just before closed meeting then?
Sure.
Christy, would we be able to get a copy of that there? Councillor Kuczynski?
Thank you. I would like to add the press release that was done by municipality about our council meeting on October 22nd.
Okay, same, that around the same spot?
Yeah.
10.11 for Mark and 10.12 for Andy.
Okay, thank you.
Press release, was it, Andy? What was the date? '23rd. What was that for, though? Press release. Okay. 23rd. Okay. All right. Anything else from council? Two things. Well, three things. We'll just move up Ryan before delegations. Get a mover and a seconder for the approval of the agenda then. Kuczynski and Fuel. Show of hands of those in support. Is unanimous and so carried. Then if I can get a mover and a seconder for adoption of the minutes, please. Therrien and Warren. Sorry, Melinda, you didn't have your hand up yet, but I figured it was going to go up there. Any questions with regards to November 4th, the 2025 agenda or meeting, I guess? I see none. If I can pose the question, those in support first. That is unanimous and is so carried. Then we'll move it up to Ryan then for the emergency plan. Ryan, whenever you're ready, if you can go up to the podium there.
Good evening, Springfield Council and residents. My name is Ryan Bamman. I'm the RM's Fire Inspector and Municipal Emergency Coordinator. I'm here this evening to present the annual emergency plan for Council's approval. Under Section 8 of the Manitoba Emergency Measures Act, local authorities are required to provide a copy of their emergency management plan to Manitoba Emergency Management Organization every year. This requires a review and approval of the plan by the council. Subsequent to the approval of the plan by the council at this time last year, we have not had an emergency that required the activation of the plan or the Emergency Operations Center. For this reason, the plan, which was accepted and approved of by Manitoba EMO last year is substantively unchanged, with the notable exception of updating names, contact info of either new people, such as myself, into the plan, or removal of others no longer in those relevant positions. There were also revisions made to our approach on managing evacuations. Last year, Deputy Fire Chief Brian Matson worked to train and organize a group of local volunteers who are prepared to assist with the operating a reception center in the need of an evacuation. These volunteers, who are organized around the community centers, have completed training and an exercise on how to staff a reception center. They'll work under the direction of the municipal employees if their help is required. The addition of these volunteers does not change our fundamental approach to the emergency social services. When activated, the approach will be to identify people who need assistance meeting basic and essential needs, and to then refer them to partner agencies who can provide support. As a result, the revision of the plan reflects their availability as a resource if needed. Continuing to develop this group of volunteers and our staff will be a key priority for the coming year. We are looking at an exercise to expand on the exercise completed last year, and the continuation of training opportunities for volunteers and municipal staff. Emergency management is fundamentally an exercise in coordinating and cooperation. So we will continue to build the relationships with key partners within the community and the provincial government. Thank you. I'm pleased to take any questions that will assist the council in your review of the plan as submitted.
Thank you. Ryan, I had a few questions there. You're using the term appendix here, but then when you go to the appendix, you open it up, it uses the term schedule.
That's new to me. Since I've started in June, the previous emergency coordinator, Brock Lawachuk, was up north a lot dealing with the wildfires. So I haven't actually asked him about that either, but that was a question I had. But as far as I know, they're the same thing. There's no difference between the appendixes as they're written or the schedules.
No, there isn't. I checked. It's just if we're using appendix here and then we open it up and it says schedule, that's just little things like that.
Right.
Appendix 6, you use the term TDG. What is a TDG on Appendix 6? It has something to do with the rail accidents?
Sorry, let me open Appendix 6. So I'm not used to an iPhone or an iPad, so I'm not as quick.
No, not a problem. Sorry, I usually give this a heads up beforehand there, but I just got so tied up this time.
Sure, no problem.
Appendix 6.
Appendix 6.
Be number 3, page 3 or something like that.
Page 3.
Hazard and vulnerable assessments.
In severe winter weather?
I'll tell you in a second. It has a categories there where your response time, it'd be page 7 of 7, very last one. Hazard rating criteria.
Okay, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you're right.
And I understand that this will be, but acronyms, and it's not just fire and so on with that. I always had a problem with the acronyms there. Unless somebody knows it, then it doesn't make any sense. So is there something that's just another tweak that I was thinking of there?
Yeah, I think if you go to page 4, the hazard transportation of dangerous goods, and it's railway. So it is indicated there on page 4 as it talks of TDGs or transportation of dangerous goods.
Oh, okay.
As a whole,
then, but it doesn't show what TDG is here. That's just a little thing. It's not going to make or break anything at all.
Sure, well, I can make note of that and go back. And these this emergency plan is, as we said, it's a living document, so it's constantly being updated, and I will make that adjustment.
Then that's all I have, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I just like to state it's in Appendix 18 for the what the acronyms mean. Just to let you know.
Thank you, Glenn. So he is right. I apologize there. Disregard Ryan.
I should have had that answer myself.
Not a problem. Any other questions or comments? I see none. Thank you very much, Ryan. So how are you liking your job?
I'm really enjoying it. It's been a great pleasure since June to work for the RM.
Yeah, no, we're glad to have you on board. All right, we'll let you get out of here and do your thing there.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then we can go to delegations.
We just need a resolution to
Oh, yeah.
adopt the emergency plan.
If I can pose a question, those are prepared to adopt the plan, Ryan's plan 10.1. Can I get a show of hands? I need a mover and a seconder for that too. Kuczynski and Vuel. Then we'll pose the question. Those in support of the plan as presented. That is unanimous and so carried. We're a little bit early for Mr. Page there, 10.1. But are you ready to go, Mr. Page? If you want to come up now, we can start your 10 minutes when you start your presentation there. Just so it's clarified, Mr. Page, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, I guess I'll just get started. Good evening, Council. My name is Dr. Daniel Page. I'm your local computer science professor on Pine Ridge Road. My delegation tonight pertains to the Indemnity By-Law before you tonight and improving transparency around it. Some of what I will present tonight are some basic views around ethics from a philosophical perspective. I ask that questions be kept to the end of my presentation. I do know that you have a copy of my main points, but if you do need a hard copy of my recommendations, they're the same ones in that document, but I can give you that after as well. So I had numerous concerns about the present process as is occurring, if it does occur the same way it did in October of 2025. The proposed changes before you serve two functionally different purposes based on two different input mechanisms. The first one being the Auditor General, and the second one naturally is the involving the public and possibly an independent reviewer. Now, I personally would recommend, this was something I wanted to say on November 4th, but I would have suggested instead of addressing the Auditor General component, make that as 3 readings, then amending the bylaw, and then considering the remainder as a separate 3 readings. Now, just some background, just because I want to make sure people are aware that this is a matter that council can consider. Is in the Municipal Act. It does permit council to vote on the items that we're discussing here by 124(2) of the Municipal Act, which says a council may, by bylaw, set the types, rates, and conditions of payment to be made or on behalf of members of council and council committees other than the Committee of a Local Urban District, for which it lists 3 subpoints. Now, however, according to municipal and northern relations, a conflict of interest occurs when an individual council member's personal interest or interest of their immediate family conflicts with a broader municipal community interest. Council members must not discuss, attempt to influence, or vote on any matter that may benefit them or their family. So presumptions given supporting this are actually a part of the special exemption that you can find in the Municipal Council Conflict of Interest Act. That's and 4.2, which states that for the purposes of that act, councillors shall be presumed not to have a direct or indirect pecuniary interest in any matter involving the indemnity, expenses, or remuneration payable to councillors. Now, to support this sort of presumption, just be aware that in the council code of conduct under principles 3.1, the council has a duty to consider the well-being and best interests of the municipality as a whole. All members must conduct themselves in a way such a way as to promote public trust and public confidence in the council and the municipality. So council should take steps that are easy to understand so as to respect the presumptions and to reduce opportunities for any of these decisions to be perceived as one for self-benefit. Furthermore, if council is allowed to vote on an increase as proposed, the public may not understand that entirely, and I believe council should strive to uphold principle 3.1 of the Code of Conduct. Without a clear elected mandate to carry out and no official public input, council's decision may be open to fair criticism on ethical grounds if it were to proceed the way it did in October of 2025. Philosophically speaking, there's at least 3 different types of ethics, so this is more me talking academically, that concerns people may have. So council should try to address these 3 families of concerns. So the first of these is deontological. So these are usually based on duty. So public officials may be seen to have a duty to act impartially and avoid conflicts of interest. Voting for one's own pay, especially when it is an increase and it involves doing so possibly in different proportions, as in 2.2 and 2.3 of the proposed bylaw, without taking precautionary steps to reduce any impression of violating this duty, may possibly violate principled expectations, deontological ones. Second family are virtue-based ethics. So these are value-based. So these are kind of a broad category. In this viewpoint, you might view integrity and humility as essential in a public service position as a desirable trait. Voting oneself a raise may not reflect these virtues, especially if there's no process of transparency, nor is there public input. The third is naturally consequential, which I heard a little bit about actually before here. This is outcome-based. So does the pay increase serve the public's interest? Did you ask the public? Has the public, again, given notice that's been published for an opportunity to get input about this bylaw? The RM could allow for a public meeting where it invites the public to comment on this in a transparent manner, maybe even use a questionnaire that residents can review, or use more mechanisms to seek consensus outside of themselves, because naturally you want to try to keep yourself separate as much as you can, get that confidence, and especially using mechanisms like independent review if that's possible. These would be in alignment with such concerns. Now this is the most important consequential component, okay? So if a pay increase, any or all, undermines trust or public support, the negative consequences may outweigh the benefits. So now with that, now I'm going to talk a bit more about the bylaw. So I have kind of 3 families of recommendations tonight. So first involves section 2 of this bylaw. So I recommend clarifying some of the language, because when I first read it, I thought it wasn't clear enough. And I was suggesting making it a little bit clearer to remove further ambiguities. So these are ways to perceive what's being read in 2 possible different ways. So let's just to straighten it up a little bit. So first, I suggest changing subsection 1 of, we're talking about section 2. So there's a 2% that's kind of dangling there. Now, I have a general sense of what that is, but I think it should be made much more precise. It should be attached more explicitly. So it should read instead, subsection 1, that effectively on, from, and after the date this bylaw is passed, the annual compensation or basic indemnity for each member of council of the rural municipality of Springfield shall be $37,454.40 per annum, and shall increase by 2% per year until the year 2026, unless a council member opts out of the increase. Next, so I would suggest looking at subsections 2 and 3 to explicitly ensure that the additional compensation is explicitly tied to after computation of subsection 1, because it's not very, I think it's important to clarify where exactly that 2% lies in relation to the additional amounts. So I would suggest making this reflect accordingly, so that subsection 2, it says that in addition to the annual compensation or basic indemnity outlined in subsection 1, the mayor shall receive an additional compensation of $10,000 per annum. And subsection 3, that in addition to the annual compensation or basic indemnity outlined in subsection 1, the deputy mayor shall receive an additional compensation of $1,200 per annum. So that's the first family of concern. So this is explicit to the bylaw. Second, at the meetings that I've been attending, I've attended all of the meetings involving this. I've heard that the increase is to encourage more to participate in running council. So for example, younger people, or likewise older residents that come out of retirement. Now, I would advise changing the bylaw to 1 so that it does exactly this. That would remove the possibility of benefits sitting members of council. So remove in 2.1 the mention of the increase per year and only include a new item under section 2 that states that the annual compensation or basic indemnity for each member of the council increases by 2% to begin the next council term, so until 2027, with the possibility of an opt-out, because they should deserve the choice to they want to take that or not. Third, and this is the most important one I think tonight, so if council is not confident it can make a decision about this matter in alignment with what I said here tonight, principle 3.1, get this public input. Some may view a pay increase as something council should not vote on, even if it can. So when decisions like this arise, they should be made with transparency, consideration of the ethical concerns I outlined, and of course with public trust, given that you're voting on something that involves yourself as it is literally written. So in the spirit of this, I humbly and respectfully recommend council make a resolution tonight to hear from the public in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you. Great time there, Mr. Page. Any questions from council? Councillor Miller?
How did you know, Mr. Mayor?
I saw you putting your...
Well, first off, thank you, Dr. Page, for your presentation, your thorough analysis, and your recommendations to council. As you know, I'm a firm believer in transparency and accountability, and I certainly absolutely do not believe that any politician should be providing or voting on their own raise, whether it be with the provincial government, the federal government, the municipal government, or anything in between. I think it's wrong. You outlined very clearly that it's not only ethically wrong, but there's virtues and principles to all of this. But going forward with your recommendations, we have a little bit of a problem, but I don't think it's a challenge that we can't undertake, and that is with the Municipal Act, where it allows us to set the bylaw in motion. However, that shouldn't be an impediment. In fact, if we're creative and if we're brilliant individuals and we're justified in receiving a raise, then one ought to come up with solutions to circumnavigate and to make it a better process. A better process would absolutely include having an independent body review the performance measures of council and or an independent body recommending to council what that raise could be, should be, or may not be. For instance, we don't have to be bound by the letter of the law of the Municipal Act. In fact, we have to follow it absolutely, but we can enhance it, we can improve it, and we can make it more transparent, more accountability for the residents. The element that I think you said, you're one member of the public. So out of 15, 16,000 people who are in our municipality, you're in fact representing every one of them, because no other member of the public has had an opportunity to speak to us. So the emails and texts and phone calls that I've received over the last couple of weeks have been absolutely stand hard on this, Mark. You're a representative. You should be speaking for the people, because it seems like the people can't speak at council. Thank you for taking the opportunity today to do that. What inspired you to come here today and to give us your insight? In other words, you're taking the weight on your backs of perhaps 15, 16,000 people Is it because you've heard from other individuals? Is it because you're a specialist in this? Is it because you personally have been incited to do this? Could you give a perspective of what motivates you to share your conviction on this particular very important issue?
Oh, that's actually an excellent question. So I will outline that first. Every resident I've spoke to, because I run into them when I go for my walks, they when they found out about this, they were rather upset. To be quite blunt with you, they quite upset. And I think it's important. So that's one component, is the public input, because I think everybody's voice really matters. And I put myself over the years in a position where I have to try to represent as many voices as I can so that I can get underlying understanding of what exactly is going on. And I don't claim that's easy. And I can't claim it's easy for council, because that takes a lot of time to really digest that. But on the other hand, I've also been in a position many, many times as an academic to really stand my firm ground on certain key principles, things like conflict of interest, ensuring that I am operating in a way that I can set a good model for other people. That's very important to me. So for example, if I would not come up here and start trying to tell you a bunch of nonsense. That's not my place. But at the same time, I know, like when I've been in positions at universities, like with conflict of interest, we take that stuff very seriously. So for example, if somebody was asking or seeking out for promotion or anything of that kind, they would be explicitly asked to leave the room, for example, and we would not be able to speak to them about the matter. So these are very basic things. And I know that the municipal, our conflict of interest that we have here have components like this. So I know that the Municipal Act does allow council to vote on this, but at the same time, they should exercise and respect that fact, that they're given that weight to do that. And I believe that the principles, let's say under the Code of Conduct and these others, they presume that council is doing this with all of those excessive things, not just simply, hey, look, I can do it. You got to go up here, not down here.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. I want to ask another question. You talked about the 2%. 2% seems fairly reasonable, but it seems to be under the radar. In other words, who would question 2%? It's a minor amount. It's a little token of appreciation. It's a cost of living, whatever you want to attribute it to. But this is what irks me even more, is that politicians get away with under the radar kinds of increases or expenditures. In other words, probably not too many people will balk at a 2% raise or an increase, but I think it's much deeper than that, isn't it? It's the virtue, it's the ethics, it's the transparency, it's accountability. So again, I don't think you're balking or rejecting the 2%, although I would ask you, if you were to assess the council over the last 3 years in terms of performance measures, any other private sector enterprise would evaluate their employees. We have the human resource coordinator here today for the RM. That individual needs to be measured in terms of their performance. It's not just a token 2% increase. So I guess I'm asking you even further, deeper, 2%, I don't think you're, again, rejecting that part. I think you're saying it goes much deeper to the integrity and the virtue of the whole concept, isn't it?
Correct. Well, there's kind of two minds of this situation. One is, so functionally speaking, how is council performing? Are they fulfilling the mandate that the public expects of them from a functional perspective? It doesn't mean I have to agree with council. It's just that, are they doing what they expected and were promised? That's one component. The other component naturally is, hey, look, like even if we accept the 2%, are we doing it in a way that we're respecting the boundaries of the current council, which they can set values such as this. However, there's all these other components that make the presumption that council will not vote for things that self-benefit them. So on one mind, it's okay, well, I think that, speaking as somebody that's been up here trying to really help council, and I want to see things get better, is I'm very concerned about one end, and the other end, I'm concerned about this too, because I would not support this current council voting on this matter, because it's against, as I said, this virtue ethics.
And I just wanted one final comment. There's a whole array of formulas of how to measure performance by politicians. For instance, the government of Alberta some years ago said that if you go into a deficit, you're going to be deducted that amount. If you go into a negative position, you're going to absolutely, your performance is obviously not to the liking of the public, put them into a debt situation. So I think there's deeper things we can look at in terms of performance measures for council members, but they shouldn't automatically just say that they deserve it because inflation has gone up or because of whatever. You know, you can have around this table or any table, the Manitoba legislature or the 300 members of the parliament, you've got some people who are just warming seats, and you've got people who are striving to do the absolute best, sacrificing their families, sacrificing a whole host of other opportunities, working more than 9 to 5, and who are putting in that time and ultimately earn that dollar. And yet on a council or a legislature or a parliament, you can have those who are just coasting. And so it's unfortunate. I guess these are the people we elect, and fortunately have the ability to unelect going forward, and maybe recall will be a formula for that in the future. But what's your feeling on why does everyone deserve 2%? Because obviously, even on this table, some people would, give 2 cheers to the mayor and maybe 3 to Councillor Warren and maybe a half for me. But the reality is, we all perform differently. And do you think election time is the only time to measure that, or should we just automatically get the 2% just because we're in this seat?
So I'll answer that in kind of a careful way. So the first is that, again, the main concern that I raise in some of these recommendations I have is that to separate yourself from the 2% increase. Avoid any accusation of any form of self-benefit. So I've had people that are former school trustees reach out to me and say, this is not right. They should serve this for the next council, if that's literally what they've been saying. Because that's what I've been hearing here. And I think that's a valid reason. And that's something a council should consider and vote on. I mean, if they want to decide if that makes sense, if they want to encourage, say, a councillor to run in the future, maybe come out of retirement or be younger or something, like that's something that's totally valid that a council could vote on. I mean, but then that doesn't contradict nearly as much as what we were talking about today. The second one is, speaking as somebody that I've had to go through rigorous performance reviews myself, I think it's kind of silly that the council is just like, yeah, I get more money. Like, I'm speaking as somebody who spent years sacrificing himself financially and professionally to uphold the standards of my profession. I don't care about money. I think that it's important that we fulfill the tasks that are trusted to us.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Kuczynski?
Thank you. Dr. Page, I want to ask you, here was conversation we have that we have to attract the best people for the council. Can you please elaborate, like, how are you going to get the best people on the council with the wages that the council receive right now? How would you put this in a perspective and explain to residents maybe how this could be achieved?
Sure. So first, I don't have a magic crystal ball. So I'm not a theoretical computer scientist called an oracle. I'm not an oracle. So I can't tell you what will happen in the future in this exact sense. However, you can kind of take the current amount, which I must stress that, as was said by the mayor, like the pay it's good. It's good. So on one hand, you have to look at it from two angles, because on one hand, what's the expectation of a councillor? If we keep increasing the amount that the expectation, like the compensation of a councillor, is the expectation of the councillor that they take their time away from going to work, all the stuff, to focus more and put duties on that? Or is it that, oh, we're actually like incentivizing people to get a lot of extra money? And I think that it's either one of two minds. Either you're trying to aim for people that really are very dedicated and they want to be compensated for that, and they're going to be willing to put aside all these other obligations, maybe like a federal politician might do. Or are we looking for somebody that is really they really care a lot? And I'm more of the camp that people should do this because they care a lot. But these are two different minds, of course, and I think that it's good to think about them in kind of at least a couple different ways. I don't claim those are the only two.
So if we want to get younger people to the council, how we can get them here because they have to make a living. So, for instance, if we're getting $37,000 a year, by the time you pay taxes, everything, that $20,000 maybe you get in remuneration. Nobody can live on that. He cannot have the family to support his family. So how much wages should go up so the young people could leave their work, whatever they have right now, and sit on the council?
That's a good question. Now I would have to actually calculate that out, and I don't have that in front of me, unfortunately. But I think personally, I think that it's more like, because I do hear from younger residents every once in a while, they'll reach out to me, just because like they're worried about saying things publicly. They'll reach out to me privately, and they say, "Hey, look, like I'm concerned about these things, but I have my kids. I have all these other obligations," and that's how a lot of people my age are like. Like I'm in my late 30s, but that's how a lot of them are. They're stuck in this trap of rapid mortgages and children, and some of them are like me, like we don't have kids, but are really having to worry about that big jump. So I can completely understand exactly why that's a serious concern. But yeah, no, I couldn't give you a monetary amount of how much you would have to increase it. But on the other hand, I personally just think, like, if somebody really cares, it's more about them being knowledgeable about what they're actually looking into. So if we're trying to attract somebody that's younger, they really, like, they should know what they're doing. It shouldn't be money that incentivizes them in the first place. I mean, speaking as somebody that's never really taken a job because of money, so, and I've always taken sacrifices. I think that's the kind of mentality. And I imagine if you probably spoke to maybe some counselors from a decade or two ago, they'd probably say something rather similar.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Then we will,
No more questions, Dr. Page?
thank you. Then we will go to the next delegation, and that would be Janet Nylen on the Dugald Place Pool Use Agreement. And 10 minutes when you start.
Again, I hope you give me some latitude with my voice and my cough. I think my presentation is important. I'll start off, I'll say $16 million. I'll get back to that. This past month, I was looking for another car. I didn't need a brand new or fancy one with all the electronics, etc. But when you go into a dealership, you see all the shiny new vehicles. The salesman direct you to them instead of the used vehicles. Bear with me, please. Then the salesman tells you why this would be good for you, how it can be financed and affordable for you, etc. That's his job, his pressure sales. My job was to hold my ground and not buy something shiny and new that I really didn't need and that I can't afford. I think this story is very similar to the pool. First announced in September 28, 2021 to be the innovative 10,000 square foot Aquatic Wellness Center, or AWC, including a full-length 6-lane pool, which will accommodate community use for all ages from beginners to seniors, as well as water aerobics and other therapeutics, which are known to be especially beneficial for seniors. Public access to the AWC will provide opportunity for year-round swimming lessons, general swim hours, and special events for Springfield residents and their neighbors. Seniors will be afforded reserved swim times. Municipal recreation staff will manage and operate the AWC, which will also include a small cafe. This announcement is on your website. The follow-up article in the Clipper of August 3rd, 2023, announced Dugald Place receives $1.1 million pool funding. It adds the pool is part of a 10,000 square foot aquatic and wellness center. The pool will have 6 lanes across 6,097 square feet and offer a beached entry leading to a therapy pool and the main lap section. A small bistro, exercise facility, and viewing space are also planned. This is also on your website. Another Clipper article, July 14th, 2022, stated that the pool was estimated to cost $3 million and is being built as part of a larger complex, and expenses will be less. property taxes the complex generates will be earmarked for the pool's operation. Municipal staff will operate the pool. While firm details have not been ironed out, the general public will have generous access to them. Fast forward to March 27th, 2025 news release. The project includes an indoor community pool that will include 3 lanes, have a depth of 1.8 meters, provide locker, spacious seating for guests, accommodate 50 swimmers, and incorporate a large lobby for various celebrations. The pool will be available to all Springfield residents. SHHI and the council will have a shared use agreement to ensure the RM will be able to provide guaranteed times to deliver early year swim lessons, adult exercise, and family swim times. The pool will also be available to the community for special events and birthday parties. Dugald Estates and Dugald Place residents will also have use of the pool. This is what the public has been told. This information has not been corrected on the RM's website, but what the taxpayers of Springfield are getting according to the proposed use agreement council is considering tonight is like a small Ford Fiesta and not a new Cadillac, but we are going to have to pay the Cadillac cost. Size down from 10,000 square feet and 6 lanes reduced to 3 lanes and a pool of 30 feet by 57 feet. No therapy pool, no beach entry, no diving. The depth is limited to 1.8 meters. I have not mentioned the memorandum of understanding signed between SHHI and the RM on October 22nd, 22. I provided it to council today. I don't know if you were even aware of this agreement before. I'll jump to point 3. Long-term lease of space to the municipality for $1 per year from SHHI within the following 9 conditions. The RM to provide operations AWC space, fees to public on cost recovery only, any deficit in operations to be offset by the municipal tax revenue created by assisted living space. That SHHI and the RM commit to completing a definitive agreement no later than 3 months prior to completion, all parties acting reasonably and in good faith. Completion, I believe, is scheduled for November 2026. The pool use agreement you are considering tonight is nothing like what I've stated before. In my opinion, it's very lopsided towards SHHI. $2,000 per week minimum. Has anyone calculated how many users there needs to be to cover that cost and what that fee will have to be? What programs will the RM be offering to attract people to come to use the pool? We don't know what programs are there. What hours will it be used by SHHI residents? And when will the public be able to use the pool? We don't know these things. These are all things that should have been considered before the shovels went into the ground, in my opinion, but it's too late for that. It's too late to stop the pool, but making it palatable for the taxpayer should now be council's focus, not just cutting corners for SHHI costs. For an example, I did 20 hours and 1 to 3 from Monday to Friday, 9 to 3 on Saturday, 1 to 4 on Sunday, 9 to 7 on Monday, and totaled up 20 hours. The estimated users I came up with was, I said 140, which was totally just my number, and I divided it by 2,000. That would be a user fee of over $14 an hour. That doesn't include the staffing costs. My numbers are all random, but has council seen any cost comparison data from other like pools, other assisted living facilities? This would give council a realistic idea when the facility would be best used by SHHI and when it would be available for public use. What are the user fees paid to other pools? What are monthly operating costs, not including staffing for other facilities? I just Googled Selkirk's pool, which is tied to Lord Selkirk School Division, and it has a pool size of 29.5 meters by 12 meters for a maximum depth of 12 feet and a minimum of 32 inches. Excuse me. The rates are from 5 to 7-year-olds, $4. This is not per hour, this is per visit. 18 to 17-year-olds, $5. Pardon me, 8 to 17-year-olds, $5. 18 to 59-year-olds, $8.50. 60 plus, $8. And family, $25. This pool was supposed to be cost neutral to the public. It certainly appears that it's not going to be. The proposed agreement you're looking at tonight is for 30 years. The minimum number of public hours is 20 per week, and the maximum is 40. The public doesn't even know when those hours will be. At rates of $100 per hour with a guaranteed payment of $80 per I think I'm out here. It will equate to $96,000 per year for 30 years, or my $6 million number. Regardless of the hours rented and regardless of cancellations or rescheduling by the RM, that is what this agreement will tie us to. The $6 million of taxpayer money was just a quick estimate of what it could cost taxpayers. Of course, it would be less the fees generated from users. But also, don't forget the RM still has to pay for staffing for the time that is being used by the public. I will end by saying the following. Do not sign this agreement as written tonight. There's no imminent reason to do that. Do the homework to make it a good agreement for taxpayers and SHHI, acting reasonably and in good faith, as the MOU said. Read the MOU, $1 per year fees to generate a set amount. Please get the relevant information to guarantee and incorporate good time slots for public use of the pool and make the fees comparable to other swimming facilities, or our residents will go elsewhere to facilities that have more to offer. Please get the Recreation Department to come up with some viable programs that we can look forward to, that can be run, the timeframes that they can be offered, the staffing costs, etc. Please become transparent about this project and update the website. Make accurate news releases and not continue to think that taxpayers have unlimited money and are not concerned about undue spending.
1 minute, ma'am.
Yeah, well, I would rather live with a Ford Fiesta I can afford and offers me what I need than pay for a Cadillac that I will never see. Any questions?
Well, that's my job. Any questions, Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Nylen, for your detailed summary or perspective on this agreement. It's been quite a journey. As you know, I was elected in 22, I guess it was, and this was in the motion before that. But, you know, we had strived to get a pool for this community for many years. I'm certain of that, and recreation is a priority. Having said that, you did say that originally it was going to be almost double the size pool and so forth. The consultant that is advising this SHHI board, which, as you probably know or remember, council is the sole shareholder or sole member of the organization. So we have kind of a very unique relationship with SHHI, and I think we can make modifications as we go. But I do take to heart your concern about pools. We were advised that, for instance, the Steinbach pool hemorrhages, I hate to put it in those contexts, but hemorrhages money every year. But they see it as obviously a very important recreational tool for their community. And so I think they're bleeding upwards of $1 million. Again, don't quote me, but I think it's significant. In our particular case, you're right, we've committed or potentially committed to investing in this pool. And for the most part, yeah, there's some loose ends to it, but I think it's going to be an asset to our community. Not to say that, like you say, I think we could have a sober second look at the agreement itself. I have no difficulty making sure that we're absolutely comfortable and that the public is fully engaged and aware of this. This is something that's perhaps lacked, is that we haven't, there's been press releases, but I know that the consultant who's working with SHHI and the municipality is really convicted and really, how can I say, in a positive attitude that this pool will be cost recovery and that it won't have that hemorrhage element that Steinbach and some other pools do. And I'm very optimistic that the information he's telling us is truthful and accurate. So I'm putting a bit of a bias in that, but what is your greatest fear? I guess that it's going to be a significant cost to the taxpayer going forward.
I guess my analogy is that Mr. Damon is the salesman and he's selling you something, and we need to know the details on the pool. We need to know the hours that the public can use it. We need to know what kind of programs we can expect to have here, and then tell us that it can be cost recovery. Right now, we have nothing.
I take a little bit of offense that Mr. Damon is a car salesman or alluding to the fact he's a consultant. He's very credible. He's very professional. And that I take offense to that. He's extremely reliable and very well accepted in his field,
I
top
like car
notch in his
salesmen.
field. But he's
I
not
like
a car
cars.
salesman
I'm
in any
not-
way. He's
I'm
not
not-
selling us. He's not selling us anything,
He's
ma'am.
not giving you the
Absolutely.
facts and the details. He's giving
He
you.
gave us the facts. He gave us all the facts, ma'am. We've been working on this for 3 years.
You know what time slots the public will have. You know
We're
what
going to be working
programs
on
we're
those
gonna
time
have.
slots as part of the memorandum of agreement. There, it's on there. As the pool gets closer to completion, there we're going to know what we're going to be able to fill in time slots. It's like I'd like to draw the example of Mr. Cook, Bill Cook. All my kids took all their swimming lessons in town here with a pool that's a smaller size than this, and they did hundreds of kids every summer in that pool, and they had it all worked out. But they don't know until they get all the kids in there. This pool is going to be exceptional for our aging in place, for our seniors, our youth. It's going to have the lifeguard swimming lessons in there. It's going to train our young kids. It's a safety issue that cannot be counted on with regards to safety. I don't care how much it costs. I was taking my kids all over the place for the safety. Now we can have a pool in here where our senior citizens can have the aquasize and do all that stuff for aging in place. They don't have to go into the city. You made comments about they're going to go anywhere else. They're not.
I
This
did
pool
not.
is.
I
You
said
did. You
make-
said they're going to go other places.
No, I
But I'm
said
just
make it
1 minute, ma'am.
comparable.
Just 1 minute, ma'am.
No,
So
don't
the
misquote
fact
me,
is that
please.
they're going to stay here in their community. This is a community pool. It's aging in place, and this is what we want. We want to have that aging in place and for the health of our senior citizens. It's situated in the middle of the RM, so it's accessible to everybody coming through.
Can I comment
Okay.
back, please? I did not say that they'll go anywhere else. I said make the fees comparable so they won't go anywhere else.
It is comparable.
I don't
It's
have
very
a problem
comparable.
with car salesmen either. That was not a criticism. It is that you might know the facts, but the public certainly doesn't. What we have is what's on your website, what's been published in the paper, and it is very misleading. And we have no detail on how many hours the public will have. We have no details on what programs are going to be offered, but you are promising in this agreement to spend $96,000 a year guaranteed for 30 years. That's what you have. And I'm saying to you, please don't do that. Please come to the public, tell them, we're going to offer you, we're going to give you time slots for early morning swims for parents. We're going to give you evening swims or public swims. We're going to offer all these programs. We need to know more that will justify or start to make us more enthused about the pool rather than just having to have to pay for something. It's the Cadillac that we'll never drive.
Well, I don't know about enthused. I hear it from people all the time. They can't wait till the pool is is up and running, then they can get their kids inside the swimming
If you were
lessons.
charging
So I don't know who.
$14 an hour,
You're interrupting me, ma'am. Okay, there's a lot of enthusiasm for the pool in this community. It is top notch. It's one of the highest priorities in this community is to have the pool. We're broken it down to the hours. We're at $90 an hour. When I think in other comparable pools, it's 100 to 150. So I don't know if we can nickel and dime everything here with regards to that. It's a hole in the ground essentially. It's been cemented in now. So once we get closer to that date, we'll be able to find out what lessons and where it's all going to be. There's not going to be a problem people signing up. That won't be an issue. And there's no issue with the financing as well. Things cost a lot of money. It's a huge expense. I guarantee it's I take it for granted that the costs are exceptional. But then the cost of our seniors and our youths and the safety is not something that you can put a complete dollar on there. We're not going to be operating it obviously as a gold standard. It's going to be operated there by our staff, and we're going to do the best that we can. And I don't have any situations there where it's ever going to be not used. Any other questions, Councillor Miller?
well, could I comment to that? Because I think you have.
Well, I'm not saying I answered your question. So now for you to comment back and forth, we're not playing stickball here.
You said.
If you've got another comment, then please ask the comment, but or make a question, but not so much
You
the
have
commentary. What's the
an
question?
existing memorandum of understanding that you're not even dealing with right now. You're telling us to believe with this new agreement that there's going to be other agreements. Like, you have to fill in the space for the public. You know, you sold it as $1 a year and costs, and that the RM was going to run it. Now you've changed how it's going to be. Please give us more detail and how, if you have the information, make that information available to the public is what I'm asking.
Okay, thank you.
And also, you made a comment that you would pay whatever price, whatever. And I don't, that might be your personal opinion, but I don't think many people are willing to pay $14 an hour to go swimming here.
Well, that's you, ma'am. Okay, but I disagree with you with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was encouraged. We had our last SHHI meeting, I guess, last week. And as I say, I was encouraged because the consultant, Gord Damon, as well as our RM rec coordinator, Sean Wilkinson, was there. And they both alluded that they frankly won't have any difficulty, they don't believe they'll have any difficulty filling the slots for the time for cost recovery. So I don't know if I want to play or be naive in this, but I do want to give them a little bit of leeway and be encouraged. I do, as you know, I don't agree with the mayor a lot, but in this one, I do agree that the public is definitely encouraged to have a pool because there's multiple benefits, and I don't have to go through them all, but obviously for seniors, the youth, and the public in general. But I'm a fiscal conservative, and I absolutely wouldn't want to hemorrhage money out of our yin-yang. And I think there's the ability, the way I understood our board meeting, there is the ability for us to change that agreement. Yes, there's penalties, but I think because we're the only shareholder, in fact, we're the only stakeholder for this organization, we actually hold the thrust of making a change that would not exploit the ratepayers of our community. So again, I'm giving a little bit of faith to this pool because I think it's well wanted, and but at the same time, I really appreciate your comments that we need to have a plan, and I don't believe the rec director at this time has an explicit plan because, of course, it's just unfolding. But he has confidence, and we will, as council, I think, at least me as a member of council, will hold him accountable that yes, we need to recover as much money as absolutely possible all the time, and we should not be, how can I say, taxing people at $14 to have an opportunity to swim, because I agree with you there. I'm not going to pay $14. I would go to Concordia, where I grew up, Concordia Pool, or Elmwood Kildonan, as it's called now, or somewhere else, because dollars and cents do mean a lot to people these days, especially when they have 2, 3, 4 kids. That gets pretty darn expensive.
Could I just ask?
Yes,
that
please.
you ask Mr. Damon and Sean Wilkinson to substantiate their feelings, because there's ways of doing it. You can do studies. You can see what other pools are costing to operate, what their fees are, what their hours are, what programs work good in different time slots. I'm not asking you to stop the pool. I'm not opposed to the pool. I'm asking you not to sign the agreement tonight so that you can get some good factual answers out there before you do it and make sure that the agreement fits well.
Deputy Mayor is next.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. There's a $1.1 million grant on this right now, and the agreement needs to be in place to satisfy the provincial government for that 1.1 million. So that's why I feel it's a necessity to get this done. Also, if you want to look at that in a different avenue, take that 1.1 million, divide that over 15 years. There it covers the cost of the pool for 15 years just on that alone. So
That's not in your agreement tonight.
no, it's not the agreement, but we have to have an agreement that there's an agreement between SHHI and the use of the pool for the RM in order to receive that grant, and that agreement needs to be in play. So again, I support this. I believe that the community supports it. I've been part of this right from day one, and Janet, or Mrs. Nylen, I'm sorry, you are right. You went from the Cadillac to the Dodge Chevette, but I still have faith in this. I have faith in the consultant. I have faith in the rec director. You know, sometimes and I always equate it a little bit to business. We have to take some risks, and to me, this is a minor risk. It's not a major risk. We've done everything we can to make this viable. And I have that faith that this will take place, and the community will love it. The children and the families will be able to go swim. The elderly will be able to watch their grandchildren swim. It's just it's a plus. And I know I heard you say that you're not against it. I did hear that, but there's a lot of positives, and here's the reason why. I'm stating that, you know, this agreement needs to be signed for this reason. Thank you.
Councillor Miller? Or I didn't see Andy's hand up though. It's up now, okay?
Thank you.
Go ahead, Andy.
We're not disagreeing that we don't need this pool. This pool gonna happen.
Yeah.
We just want to know that have information for residents. I calculated, so there is 720 hours in a month in the swimming pool. And we're just gonna use 80 hours a month, so that's gonna be represent only 11%. I don't know if 11% would be satisfying for our community. If we could just put something in agreement that we can have maybe 20% usage of that pool. I know maybe people not going to use this pool at nighttime. Everybody see that. But maybe if we could just put that, if we see that the numbers don't work for us, we cannot recoup the money because we want to keep rates low for our residents, then we increase the hours and maybe we can keep the rates low and everybody going to be happy. We're not against the pool. We just want to have good deal that satisfy everybody.
And that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to bylaw 7.1. Second reading, 2517, Indemnity By-Law. Can I get a mover and a seconder on that, please? Warren and Fuel. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll speak to this. The RM of Springfield has passed first reading of a new indemnity bylaw salary increase for council members. The positive element of the motion is the opt-out clause. However, as councillor, I'm strongly opposed to any salary increase for members of council. While the Municipal Act enables councils across Manitoba to set their own salaries and increases through the indemnity framework, there are options to make the process more accountable, justified, and transparent. An independent body could have been organized to review, assess, and recommend any changes to council on this process. Then our achievements or lack thereof could have come under scrutiny to justify any change in the compensation. So here are some points, actually 8 points why I'm opposed to it. Councillors, politicians should never be determining their own salary and any increases. Despite the Municipal Act, we have the wherewithal to not introduce a self-benefiting increase and offering a practical alternative method which could coincide with the Municipal Act. For instance, establish, as I say, a nonpartisan independent assessment that recommends to Council, as one example. Number 2, Springfield councillors, the mayor, are among the highest paid in the province already. If you look at a comparison chart of the 100 and some municipalities across the province, we're number 3 or number 4. You know, we even rival places like Portage la Prairie and Selkirk and so forth. So to say that we're should be paid amongst the highest, we're already there. We're absolutely there. Do we then dispute that those municipalities don't have qualified or quality candidates or councillors or mayors or reeves or whatever? So it kind of throws that out with the bathwater. Number 3, there are no performance measures to justify or validate a raise. Again, we're not rated on our performance or lack thereof. We're just saying 2% because of COLA, cost of living, and or whatever other justification. Seems kind of bizarre. Number 4, the public has had no opportunity to voice their opinions, and with the elimination of question period, have no avenue to speak opening to Council other than through the enduring and scrutinizing process of applying to be a delegation before Council. I can assure you, I thank Dr. Page and his delegation process this evening, but as I said, I've received many texts, emails, and you just need to look at Facebook or Rant and Rave and see how many people, with 90% of people, are absolutely opposed to this proposition. And it'll come to haunt people, and it will be a record for each one of us how we vote on this tonight. Number 5, I am committed to not accepting any increase, as I stated in the 2022 campaign, through to October 2026. And I'll uphold my words to residents, as Councillor Kuczynski has said many times. His moral code, his own personal conscience, and a whole host of other things mean a lot more to me than receiving a token increase of some sort and breaking a promise. Breaking a promise is a road and a path to elimination and non-election. And it's not only because of that, but we are accountable to the public all the time, everywhere. And so to break a commitment would be absolutely a death throw. Number 6, our economy is riddled with debt. Thousands more to an elected rep is not justified. How can we continue to go in debt just because other municipalities are going into debt? Doesn't mean we ought to follow their lead, jumping off the bridge. Number 7, the RM of Springfield have several infrastructure and road projects that are on the horizon, and these dollars would be best put towards essential public services. Again, it's thousands of dollars collectively that we're trying to throw into our pocket, into our wallet. And I don't think that's right, especially when I've got residents, even today, asking about a particular road that needs some work, and yet I can sit here and say yes to a salary increase. Absolutely bizarre. Number 8, the RM of Springfield is anticipating millions of dollars in debt, and so adding to this debt is not prudent or being fiscally responsible. I can highlight many other reasons why we should not accept or be rewarded for this salary increase. We did not garner any federal dollars for the rec center to date. We did not persuade or send Sio Silica a strong enough message to disappear with Council's neutral stance the mayor keeps touting. Our debt projections for various projects are significant, taxing ratepayers well into the future. Our council is in costly legal challenges for various public interactions. Again, this should have never happened. Beyond these and others not mentioned, I am hopeful the mayor will characterize in very succinct and explicit points and forms explain why he and members of councils quite frankly deserve this raise. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I'll go on the record, not on the record, I've already on the record there. The 2% increase is everything, I got no problems with the 2% increase. Cost of living is a lot more than the 2% there. Inflation rates 3.4 in 2021, 6.8 in 22 and 3.9 in 23, and they're predicting 3.4 around this for this year. I've said it there that we have to attract the younger people here, and it's not going to be enough at the cost that we're getting here. We're going to get retired people like ourselves, and I'm not saying that because we're retired or near retirement it's not going to be influenced. But the fact is about attracting people is part of the incentive here. I believe in the process that we're doing, and we're doing some great things here. That said, we give our staff incremental increases there. We gave our union staff, we went through negotiations and so on like that, and we have a very good contract with our staff, and we got the best staff in the province, in my opinion here. That said, I think we have to paying the 2%, it's sure, and I understand what Councillor Miller was saying there. We are allowed to do this, and we don't do it lightly. But this is simply the cost of living has gone up there. Gas, when we started here in gas, it's gone up 30% since we started here in council there. So when I say that it's nice to attract the younger councillors, and I agree with that. There is it enough for a young person there for this to be their job? No. But the fact is that that's just one partial layer of that rationale that I'm using there. There's just so much. I know you talked about rant and rave or Facebook. There's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. It's just not something that I use as a barometer as Facebook there. I've spoken to many people with regards to this. People are keeping track there of the pay increases there. I haven't had anybody negatively speak about a 2% increase there for us. I had none. Put your hand down, Mr. Page. There's just no rationale where you can say that people are disgusted by it and so on like that. Sure, there's going to be people, but I haven't had that those people coming up to me, nor any emails there, any delegations with regards to this whatsoever, apart from Mr. Page there. So I've got no problems with the 2% increase. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, I have.
Councillor
concur with
Kuczynski,
Ms.
please turn that off. Councillor Kuczynski?
Thank you. We're here not to make money. We're here to represent our community.
I agree.
If the money we receive, then I don't think so 2% gonna, break anybody. It's just the principle.
Right.
And the principle is that we're here to serve the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we signed for this job. Nobody holding us here. If we want, we can resign if we don't like it. But the community we serve, and we're not supposed to expect that, we should get raises here because inflation is up. And inflation on gas went down quite a bit. When we started, oil was like $80. Now it's oil $60 a barrel. So actually gas prices are very reasonable. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments before I see none?
Milking the system.
No, please turn them off. Then if we can do the reading of the bylaw, we can do our vote.
Be it resolved that second reading be given to bylaw number 2517, being a bylaw of the RM of Springfield to establish the rates, taxable allowances, types, and conditions of payment to or on behalf of members of the Council of the RM of Springfield.
With that being read, I'll pose the first question. Those in support, the show of hands. It's Councillors Warren, Fuel, and Therrien. Those opposed, it's Councillors Kuczynski and Miller, and it is so passed. We'll go to third reading there, 7.11, please. Can I get a mover and a seconder for Indemnity By-Law, third reading? Councillor Fuel and Warren. Okay, any questions or comments? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think you're a bit inaccurate in the, maybe people are timid in sending you information, but I can show you a lot of information I've received from multiple residents beyond Dr. Page who are opposed to this. In fact, I went even a bit further. I talked to a former Attorney General of Manitoba, and he said the process is clandestine and it really ought to be modified and isn't correct. But please note, only Councillor Kuczynski and I voted against the pay increase in the first reading and now the second. Councillors Warren, Fuel, and Mayor Therrien voted in favor of the increase. The record and the meeting minutes of November 4th and today will prove this. Excuses, the rationale or justification that we need to attract good or younger candidates does not hold water. Members of Parliament are paid upwards of $200,000 per year, but you still have bad apples. It's evident some levels of government have tried this methodology, but you can attract people hungry for the dollar bill. In fact, one could argue that paying people more often attracts those who are motivated for the money, not for the people or for the purpose of representing people well. Even if you are not a Christian, the verse related to this, the love of money is the root of all types of evil, and that's in Timothy. How true it is today here. Last time we debated this bylaw, the mayor suggested we need to attract, again, young people. Enticing them with the carrot and money, I don't think is right. If he actually believes this, then the pay increase would not take effect until after the October 26th election, as this unjustified pay raise only benefits those immediately who will vote for it. If that's not self-interest and some sort of conflict of interest, I don't know what is. So tonight, and on the record, the public record, let's see who is really voting for self-motivating reasons, or rather those who are acting in the best interest for saving ratepayers precious tax dollars. Do you feel your wallet getting tighter, or do you feel it getting lighter to feed politicians more cash? This is an example of it. I personally like the approach where politicians are gauged partly on the tax increase or decrease they impose. If there is a tax increase or the level of debt is changed, their salary is deducted accordingly. This gives an incentive for elected officials to really scrutinize, encourage administration to streamline and fine-line all expenses. We know waste exists within the system. We've all seen it. And I'm not going to name items here, but I will in future show where we could have saved dollars. Without performance measures and incentives, elected officials can lean back in their chairs and pass a whole host of expenditures without a flinch. It's not their dollars. It's easy to spend someone else's dollars. I don't take that approach, but I've seen it here. Debt and major infrastructure projects have little consequences other than to ratepayers, especially when an elected official is not intending to measure their performance with the public at a future election. This vote itself tonight is among the most significant character-defining moments and portrays a legacy of who is self-serving and all about oneself. My dad, who died of stomach cancer in 2014, would have said this evening, if a politician votes to raise their own salary, continues to tax people more, this is the one you should never trust or respect, as they do not respect the challenges of the majority of people who do not have this power. Politicians like this should never be reelected. It is an outright wrong for them to line their pockets, however large or small. My dad was never in politics. He was a blue-collar trades worker, but called a spade, and this is a spade. He had common sense and hated greed when it was showing its ugly head, especially by politicians. The record tonight will forever historically show who voted for themselves and who voted in the best interest of ratepayers. Thank you.
That sounds more like a campaign to me, Mark, to be honest with you. So I got no further questions. I don't see any questions, then we'll read the third reading.
Be it resolved that third reading be given to bylaw number 25-17, being a bylaw of the RM of Springfield to establish the rates, taxable allowances, types, and conditions of payment to or on behalf of members of the Council of the RM of Springfield.
With that, I'll pose the first question. Those in support of the third reading, 25-17, Indemnity By-Law. Those in support? Councillors Warren, Fuel, and Therrien. Those opposed? Councillors Miller and Kuczynski. So passed. Thank you. Then we'll go to the consent agenda, please. There's just 2 items on there, if we can do them together. It's 9.1, 9.2, Manitoba Justice Law Enforcement Review Agency, and the AMM News Bulletins, respectively there. Can I get a mover and a seconder for both, please? Councillors Fuel and Kuczynski.
Whereas a consent agenda has been submitted consisting of 2 items, be it resolved that the said consent agenda be received as information.
I get a show of hands. Those in support of the consent agenda is 9.1, 9.2. That is unanimous, so carried. Then if we can go to, I got too much scribble in here. We've already done 10.1. If we can go to the Manitoba Disaster Management Conference, please, 10.2. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillors Fuel and Warren.
Be it resolved that all of
Councillor Miller's got a question.
A question, I think, directed to our CEO, just the cost potential. Is there a registration fee or
$550 per delegate.
per delegate? And should we be appointing certain members of council who could best represent us, or should we be allowing every member of council to participate in your best recommendation?
I know that there's various streams, so having more than, one person there is beneficial. You can't take everything in as one person attending. So I think it's up to each council member to decide if they would take something from this conference or not.
I would agree with our CEO on that, because if we get into a disaster management scenario, we have to be aware of the different parameters involved. I've been involved in airplane crashes, rail disasters. Well, it wasn't much of a rail disaster, but still it's defined as a rail incident there, plus numerous other incidences there. So I've been involved in much of this stuff. So I likely won't go, but I think it's an imperative that council understand.
You muted yourself. Oh.
Okay, so that's just my comments. Any other comments at all? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I've been going to this conference since I brought it forth to the administration. Council was not going to this prior to my first term. And then later in the first term, I recommended once I went to the first one. Every time I go, I learn something. So I really recommend that all council attend this. Again, it's different scenarios, things that countries experience. They bring in guest speakers. The Humboldt case, they brought in speakers to that, just to give an example, and there was lessons to be learned, and there's scenarios that they put through as sessions. Again, I've learned a lot from this, and will like to continue to learn more and more every time I go. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kuczynski?
Thank you. I think we should send Ryan, who is responsible for the emergency. Is he going?
He does attend, yep.
Okay, thank you, yeah.
Okay. Unless there's any questions, I don't see any. If we can get a vote on 10.1 Disaster Management Conference. Hands up for those in support.
Do you want me to read it?
Oh yeah, I better read it.
Sorry. Be it resolved that all of council be delegated to attend the Manitoba Disaster Management Conference being held on January 28th to 30th, 2026 in Winnipeg at their discretion.
A show of hands, those in support. That's Councillors Warren, Fuel, and Therien. Those opposed? Councillors Miller and Kuczynski. Then if it's so passed, can we go to 10.3, please? That's the Seine River School Division 2026 and 27 public budget session there. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillors Miller and Therien.
Springfield has failed its disaster commitments.
Any questions with regards to that from the council? None? Can I get it read and then we can vote on it?
Be it resolved that the following council members be delegated to attend the Seine River School Division 2026-27 public budget session on November 26, 2025 in Lorette. And I believe the only council members available would be Councillor Miller and Councillor Kuczynski for this. So
if we can get somebody to go there, that'd be good to get an idea what the budget session's all about. If I get a show of hands, those in support. I think we're at the
it's
AMM.
at the AMM conference. This is an evening session, and you didn't take in the evening events.
Okay, if we can get a show of hands, those in support of 10.2. That is unanimous, so carried. Or 3, I should say. If we can go to 10.4, 10.41, I should say, is the speed zone reductions. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I wonder if we can do this all together. Is that should we do it one by one?
I prefer to.
Okay, then we'll go to 10.4.1 Symington Road. A mover and a seconder for that. Councillors Fuel and Warren.
Be it resolved that Council of the RM of Springfield approves a speed reduction on Symington Road south of Perimeter Highway 101 and Hunter Road west of Plessis Road to 70 kilometers an hour.
Any questions or comments with regards to that from Council? Then I see none. If I can get a show of hands of those in support of 10.4.1. That is unanimous and so carried. We'll go to 10.42, please. That's Springfield Road west of PR 207, speed reduction. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Tarian and Fuel.
Be resolved that Council of the RM of Springfield approve a speed reduction on Springfield Road west of PR 207 to Lornhill Road to 50 kilometers an hour.
Can I get a show of hands, unless there's any questions? I see none. Can I get a show of hands of those in support? That is unanimous, so carried. That is long overdue. 10.5, please. Mover and a seconder for Dugald Place pool use agreement there. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillors Fuel and Warren. Any questions from Council with regards to 10.5? That's Dugald pool use agreement. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and taking into consideration Ms. Nylen's comments tonight as a delegation, I just want to say that I am, I guess, sold on the plan. She used the analogy of a sales plan, so to speak, but I think the consultant as well as our rec director kind of convinced me that we wouldn't have any difficulty in cost recovery for the plan. So that's kind of what I wanted to put in. But if it apparently becomes very evident that we're hemorrhaging money, we're obviously going to have to take, precise action. It may not even be this council, maybe the next council, because the pool's not opening until, I guess, October, November of 26. But I'm hoping that the new council then can amend or change or make sure the ratepayers are protected going forward after, if there is a slight. But I do truthfully believe that there's a huge demand in our community for the pool. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I see none. If I can, we can do the reading there.
Be it resolved that the RM of Springfield and Springfield Heritage Housing Inc. pool use agreement be approved as presented.
I will pose the question of those in support of 10.5, the Dugald Place pool use agreement. Those in support? That is unanimous and so carried. Then we'll get to 10.6, their list of accounts. Can I get a mover and a seconder for list of accounts, please? Miller and Warren. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. I sent our CEO some preordained questions regarding the accounts, and I'm hopeful that she has those on her screen, because I left the sheet at a different location and I could probably go by memory what they were, but I think there was about 6 items. If you have it, if you could explain those, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, so check 163293 to Aspen Lakes Development Corp. This is a deposit release for stage 1, 2, and 3 related to Dogwood Drive. The EFTs number 402 to Manitoba Municipal Administrators. This is our EAP, so our Employee Assistant Program fees for September and October 2025. EFT number 414 to Servco Canada. This is under an insurance claim. It's replacement of cables, telestaker, Strongco conveyor, crusher, hydraulic lines. EFT number 484 to Mazer Group. This is a capital budget purchase of 5 zero-turn mowers. EFT 498 Watt Brothers Limited. This is mowing roadsides and lagoon area. And EFT 508 to WSP Canada Inc. This is a hillside groundwater monitoring for 2024 to 26.
No other questions? I see none. Then if we can get the reading there and we can do the vote.
Whereas disbursements have been reviewed for the period of October 10th to November 5th, 2025, be it resolved that all accounts listed on the attached printout from check 163270 to 163344, totaling $464,677.30, and EFT 376 to 511, totaling $1,373,031.26, be approved for payment, as well as the following withdrawals. Red River Co-op, $40,668.87. Western Financial, $13,072.22. Amelia, $368.18. Petropass, $12.95. John Deere, $26,146.86. RBC Visa, $12,394.12. Manitoba Hydro, $27,668.67. Bell Canada, $930.20. Bell Mobility, $1699.06. Bell MTS, $5569.22. Volvo, $20,898.98. And be it further resolved that October payroll in the amount of $328,328.08 be approved.
With that being read, I wonder if I can pose the question, the first question, those in support with a show of hands. That is so unanimous and is so carried. 10.7, please. That's financial statement there. A mover and a seconder. Tearing and fuel.
Be it resolved that the financial statement for October 2025 be approved as presented.
With that being read, I see no questions. Going to get oppose the question. Those in support with a show of hands. That is unanimous and so carried. Then we'll go to 10.8.
I do have questions, sir.
Ward appropriations. Ward appropriations.
I have questions on list of accounts.
Okay. The ward appropriations, please.
Question.
That are we able just to get them out of there? Just remove them altogether?
Yeah, I know. You tried that before.
Okay. 10.8 ward appropriations. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Kuczynski, I didn't see your hand there. And Warren?
So I provided, sorry, just before council votes on this, I did provide council with your remaining amounts that you have. These amounts have to be spent by the end of the year. And after tonight, there's one more council meeting to spend those. We did have one request from the Dugald daycare. They're creating a bit of a play area at their space to create a construction themed space for the children. And they've asked if we had any old vests or anything. Unfortunately, what we have is all very large. We don't have many extras that we would, but we looked on Amazon and different places for $100. We could, you know, supply them with vests and hard hats and make that. So if council was willing to contribute $20 each, we could definitely supply them with what they're looking for.
I'll move it as well. Then if we can do the reading of $20 each there for the $100, you good with that, Councillor Miller, Deputy Mayor?
Are we able to add to that?
Yeah. I was going to say, is there anything else to add?
I'd like to give another $500 to food bank, being that it's going to Christmas. Once again, I know that they need it all year round, but there is a special time to make sure that the supplies are up for Christmas being a very time of need. Thank you.
I totally agree with Deputy Mayor there. There is a request that still has to be worked on from the Legion there about doing a commemorative wall piece there for our veterans that had passed away in the war. So it's not ready yet, but I don't know if that would be ready by, this has to be expended or used by our last council meeting there, which is
Yeah,
next
it has to
month.
be spent before the end of the year, like
Okay.
authorized towards something.
Councillor Warren?
So we're all getting lower. So
Yeah.
maybe your next Legion Wall of Remembrance can be next year
Yes.
when our new money starts again.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Melinda. I was going to say that there, but I agree. Thank you very much. Okay. Anything else or any other monies?
I'll just,
Councillor Warren?
sorry, I don't feel that there's any more going on yet this year. So we've all given our $20 to the little kids. Can we just, the remainder of mine, I only have 420 left. So I'll just give all mine to the food bank and do it now so that they get the check at least before the end of the year.
Councillor Kuczynski.
Would donate the rest of the money to the hockey ring and Oakbank? Whatever I have left.
Is that for something specific or?
Well, just to the hockey ring to, maintenance of the hockey ring or, whatever they have to do with the money.
Okay.
As I represent Oakbank, so they're probably gonna find the use for the money.
And I'll donate $200 to the food bank and the rest to the Legion.
The Oakbank Community Club, is that what they go by? Oakbank and District. Okay.
We can get that read and then we can vote.
Be it resolved that the following 2025 board appropriations be approved. $20 per member for $100 total for the Dugald Daycare. Ward 1, $500 to Food Bank. Ward 4, $420 to Food Bank. Ward 2, $1,295 to Oakbank and District Community Club. The mayor, $200 to the Food Bank and $270 to the Legion.
With that being read, can I get a show of hands, those in support of what was just read there? That's unanimous and so carried. Then we'll go to 10.9. That's the appointment of the deputy mayor. Mover and a seconder for that, Terrian and Warren. I'm going to have the deputy mayor Fuel remain in that position there. And that's it. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You accuse me of campaigning all the time, so I may as well start right now. Again, you committed to the public that you would alternate the deputy mayor's position throughout your term. You have not done that.
Yes.
Why?
I was going to ask Councillor Warren there for that position there, and she's way too busy for that position. And I think the deputy mayor is the most experienced and the best suited for that position. That's my opinion. Councillor Miller.
Thank you for your rationale. Why do you overlook Councillor Kuczynski and even myself? Doesn't it go down to politics?
It has nothing
Does
to
it
do
go
with,
down to breaking your commitment to the public?
I have
Does
no,
it go down to,
are you gonna,
well, let me speak first, please.
okay, well, I didn't know you were gonna have a bunch of, go
Well,
ahead.
it's just, you know, people say that this council is broken, and it absolutely is because you show your cards right here and now. And I'm not vying to be deputy mayor, but
Then
what
what's
I
the
am
problem
saying,
then? What's the problem then, Mark?
are you going to let me speak or no?
If you have no problem, then what is the problem?
Because you made a commitment publicly to the people of this community that you would rotate that chair. Why do you fall back? Why do you, how can you face them and say, you know what? Either I lied or I'm not holding my commitment. It's one of those two choices, or it's politics. I know the answer because I sit here. And it's unfortunate. You don't play a fair game. And I'm disgusted. I'm disappointed. And thank goodness, October 26th is coming sooner than you think.
Okay, I actually made during the campaign there. I was just livid that the last council gave themselves a 20% increase. I was totally wrong about that because it wasn't a 20% increase. It's the whole rationale was totally wrong. So I admitted to that. So I changed my pamphlets there to reflect that. I didn't put anything down there that wasn't the truth, and I kept to that. I've done that through my entire service as the RSMP there, and my entire service to the RM as the mayor. That going forward there. I have that opinion there that the deputy mayor is the most suited for this. You say you don't want the job, and you say you're highly disgusted with that, and I don't understand. If you can't be both disgusted, you can't. Oh, I was going to say something there. You can't have both ends there. If you didn't want the job, you don't want the job, and why are you so disgusted with that? Like I say, the deputy mayor is the right person for the job. He's filled in for me when I had my incident last year, and he's done a commendable job doing that. So, in my opinion, that's the kind of rationale that I had. I know when coming into this position here, I rely quite a bit on the deputy mayor and his senior service, and as a job as a councillor, and as a job as a deputy minister, he's done exceptionally well. So I'm just maintaining that. We got a deputy mayor. What's so funny? Oh, if that's funny, okay, then I apologize. Okay, so that said, that's my rationale. Okay, then I don't need a vote on it. Or do we need a vote on it? Okay, Councillor Kuczynski.
Thank you. I want to say that even if you ask me to be deputy, I will probably refuse.
Then
because I don't think so I'll be able to work with you. That's what I say. Thank you.
I didn't get that. What'd you say? That CIO would work with me? What'd you say then?
I said I wouldn't accept that position anyway to work with you. That's
okay,
that's
why you haven't been given that position then. Very, very clear. The both of us. That's the reason you haven't been given that position.
But you should hold your promise to the community.
No, it's not a promise.
You didn't?
Once.
Yeah.
You guys, both of us are both out in left field. So if I can do the
and you're the best.
reading,
you're the best of
Vote.
everybody. Yeah, thank you.
Be it resolved that Councillor Fuel be appointed as deputy mayor for 2025-2026.
Those in support? Councillors Warren, Fuel, and Therrien. Those opposed, Miller and Kuczynski. So passed. So let's get to 10. Let's get 10.10, please. That's the interim 2026 interim operating budget. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Warren and Therrien.
Be resolved that council approve an interim operating budget of $9,333,415 for 2026.
Any questions, comments with regards to this? I see none. Can I get a show of hands? First question is those in support. That is unanimous, so carried. Then we'll go into a closed meeting. That's item 11 there. If I can get a mover in a seconder to go into a closed meeting.
Oh, we have a couple added items.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes. Okay, yeah, that'll be a 10.11. That's Councillor Miller. I can get a mover and a seconder to go for 10.11, please. Warren and fuel. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, Sio Silica will be hosting an open house for, I guess, everybody in Manitoba at Club Region Casino or Canada Inn this coming Monday. And I encourage all residents to be well aware of their sales pitch or their, obviously their opportunity to showcase their project to Manitobans. I want to make it very clear because the Clipper last week kind of elicited some comments from residents saying, is Miller flopping on this position? I am absolutely, adamantly opposed to Sio Silica causing any risk to our aquifer going forward, now and into the future. I am not neutral. I think we ought to be doing a lot more to be informing our residents as well as Manitobans. And as has been circulated by, I'm going to share, and I have shared with Council, our line in the Seine Manitoba Post. Springfield Mayor Pat Terrian stated in Local Weekly's November 13th coverage of Sio Silica reapplication for licensing, as Council, we remain committed to protecting our community's water supply and natural environment. Dispense with the rest of information. I would ask that this be made publicly available on our line in the Seine Post. But it does make 2 or 3 recommendations. And a couple of them I do want to read. It recommends that our council send a letter to the Minister of Environment, the Honourable Mike Moyes, to convene a CSC holding a public hearing with participant funding on Sio Silica proposed projects. So, you know, this is the second kick at the can. We ought to be doing a lot more. If we didn't tell them that they're not particularly welcome in our community because of the, how can I say, imminent danger to our aquifer, and the residents who have elected us have said no, then we can't just sit back here and let another council meeting go and just be ignorant to the situation. So we ought to be sending a letter, and if we don't as council, I'll do it as a person, as a resident of this community, and specifically say that we ought to be holding a public hearing and participant funding on the Sio Silica project. So I'm asking council and the CEO to put it on our next agenda that we do send a letter to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change about this very specific task. And I want to know specifically, what is our council going to do going forward to ensure that the public is not only heard, but we put up guards to safeguard our water going forward, whether that be a resolution, whether it be some sort of intervener status. We have to go to the 9th degree. We have to put 110% effort in this, because obviously the first attempt was defeated. Thank goodness, only because the New Democratic Party and Wab Kinew was elected as premier. We knew from the Ethics Commissioner's report that the Conservatives, Wharton, Stephenson, and Cullen, were going to push this through the caretaker convention. Wrongfully and ethically wrong, constitutionally wrong. This was their only safeguard, is the premier stepped up to the plate. Minister Tracy Schmidt safeguarded the residents of our community. Thank goodness. And again, I have to give them 2 thumbs up for doing that. They need the accolades, they need the encouragement from our council. And again, if our council doesn't do it, I'll do it personally, because I think it's that important going forward. There's money at stake here. They're doing it because they're evidently millions of dollars at stake. And again, I want to be open-minded, and so I plan very much to participate at that open house on Monday, and I will ask the questions. I want council and the public to know I have had opportunities to send emails to Sio Silica directly in Calgary, their home office. They have not responded once. Why is that? Are they scared? Are they timid? Do they deflect? Are they going to ignore? They don't want the tough questions. And I will continue to pose those tough questions because the residents of our community in southeastern Manitoba deserve the answers from a company that's not even based here, who has promises of lucrative jobs and silica sand that's going to do all the environmental great things in the world. But yet, I'm not naive to know. I was just at, as you know, in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, the headquarters of the United Nations Environment Program, and there's been environmental disasters throughout this planet by corporate greed. And so if this is my own backyard, I'm not going to let that happen with the risks. If this was a proven technology and a proven viable operation, I wouldn't have any opposition. I believe in economic development. I believe in critical minerals mining, but not when it's an unproven risk. As I say, we can show you many examples of where unproven exploration has led to disasters for communities. Displaced people have actually hurt or killed people. And so this can't happen in our backyard. And not because it's in our backyard, but because, again, the justification, it's unproven and it's risky to water that all of us absolutely desperately require and need for our livelihood, for our human health, and of course the environment. And I was proud to submit, and I encourage every member of council, every member of our community to submit comments to the Environmental Assessment Board, to the Approvals Branch, through the links that have been provided on, I think, the website, as well as other websites that are out there now. I think it's stopsio.com, and there's others. Online, Our Line in the Sand, Manitoba Eco Network, a whole host of organizations are mounting a campaign to inform residents that this is one risky venture and that we ought to be on guard and be protected. And again, I put the weight on Premier Wab-Kinew to do the right thing going forward, and I'm trusting that he does, but that doesn't mean we sit on our laurels. We have to mount a campaign. We have to mount opposition for those to ensure that he hears our voice, that the provincial government understands that this isn't just something that'll fade away because, again, the past Conservative government blundered this and ethically was wrong and constitutionally tried to push through corporate greed to friends and to colleagues and to others who absolutely were implicated, and probably, in all due respect, many individuals who perhaps weren't implicated in that ethics commission, because it's hard sometimes when things like this go down to nail everyone. But it's evident that this was a real tactic, and it probably is at play right now. And I hope we're guarded against that. Thank you.
Councillors Warren and then Fuel next.
Councillor Miller, so are you proposing to put a resolution forward or to vote to get something for for Our Line in the Sand? I would suggest that maybe we do that today, only because the application closes the beginning of December, and I don't know if Miss Bell here wanted it done before that, and our next council meeting is in December 16th. So would you like that done today?
Thank you, Councillor Warren. I believe it's important for us to basically send a letter to the Minister of Environment saying that we support an intervener status for not only for our council, but for the rest of the public, as has been suggested here by Our Line in the Sand. So yes, I'd be prepared to make a resolution to that effect. I'll second it. Thank you.
I'll motion that.
I'll second it. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Councillor Warren said exactly what I was going to say. Having said that, water is very important to us. And I've standed on that ground from day one, that the water has to be safe and it has to be protected. So I again share those same comments. Thank you.
Councillor Kuczynski.
Thank you. I support Councillor Miller, what he just presented to the public. And what I want to say that we should learn as a council. CEC make recommendation and they said, don't do it. So why we wouldn't support the experts who was presenting this whole situation with the Sio Silica? An expert told us it cannot be done. And our Papadopoulos report, what we received from, we paid $20,000 for it. I don't know, it was presented to CEC or maybe too late. And they said, don't do it. So in our community, we have referendum here and it wasn't sanctioned, but people spoken, 5,000 people voted against it. So if we don't learn from that, and we have to make sure that we protect the water because our lives depends on it. So we have to do something, and I really admire that Councillor Warren and Councillor Fuel gonna support us in that endeavor, and we're gonna send that letter to the minister and to the premier. Thank you very much.
I'm kind of confused with this because Tangi Bell sent this letter that I got here to the mayor and council, and I think all council got here, and then this has only come to us now. So we've had this in our hands for the last 3 or 4 days, or it's our land, our line in the sand, Manitoba. Do you recall this letter here? Because this is the more pertinent letter that's asking for us to send a letter to request to the Honourable Mike Moyes, Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, to convene the CEC to hold a public hearing with participant funding. I think that's the big thing, is participant funding. This will ensure that the effective and meaningful public engagement occurs, and that a rigorous review of the project is undertaken. This is required as the aquifer system is vital to the health and well-being of the Springfield residents and neighboring communities. So that's the 4th paragraph. Well, yeah, the second to the last paragraph here. So this is just a just a reiteration of several different cut and paste articles there. You had started here and you read that as council, we remain committed to protecting our community's water supply and natural environment. It carries on as saying council, and this is my quote, council continues to oppose any project that poses a risk to our water resources. This position reflects our responsibility to safeguard the long-term health and sustainability of our region for current and future residents. And then it goes on for other quotes here. So can you just clarify if this the letter that you were talking about here? Because this is different. This is just kind of a cut and paste, but this is the letter she sent to you and to us. So this seems more clarifying. I don't know what this is because there's a bunch of highlights on here there. So is it this letter or is it this one here? It says that the image was CEC March 7th of 2023. Council of 2024 successfully requested to convene the CEC. So this is prior to the CEC hearing. That parts of this is, so I say there's a bunch of parts from that, and then there's this letter. So is it this letter that you want, that you're referring to better?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So ultimately it's the letter, but this just came hot off the press. As you see, a date stamped today at about 1:51 p.m. So you're right, this just summarizes basically the letter, but I would support what Councillor Warren and myself propose is the resolution that you can take it, exert it right from there, that we involved intervener status and so forth.
Okay,
So,
this is...
Well, it's part of, right? So.
Well, yeah, but that's today, but this was sent to us 4 or 5 days ago, I think. Right. So this is the more pertinent letter there, and maybe what we'll do is focus on this, because this is just, well, this is nothing just, but this is the more pertinent letter here. And then there is a resolution that's before us there, and if I can talk to my side of that, I personally have no problem with, should there be a CEC hearing, that participant funding should be given to our line in the sand. So that's what I'd be saying. But I personally don't think that we should be sending a letter to the minister with regards to something that we have nothing to do with, because it's his decision, Mr. Moyes or Minister Moyes, there, whether he does a CEC hearing or not, that's strictly up to the minister to make. So that's not our decision. Anybody and everybody can contact the minister to say that there should be another CEC hearing. In my opinion, I don't believe that. I believe the CEC hearing was what, 2 years ago? Not even 2 years ago. What's changed in 2 years apart from what I've read so far in the 500 or so pages, and I'm almost through it. There, the new environmental licensing there. Much of it is the volume for the first 0 to 4 years there. So that part of it, is clear that the application is made. It's up to the minister to decide whether there's a Clean Environment Commission. So in my opinion, I don't believe that's required, but it's not my call. That's the minister, because nothing's changed in the 2 years apart from the volumes that they're going to extract in the first 5 years. The fact, the other part to this equation here from Ms. Bell, there is about the public funding, participant funding grant. I'm all for that. I think our line in the sand has been very vocal on this, and I think it's them that basically got the CEC hearing to go 2 years ago, and good on them, because on the record, as I've stated here, and she was quite eloquent with that. I applaud her for being very forthright there, that the RM has our letter of neutrality with regards to this, plus my 2 submissions taken into account, that we are not for any project that might harm our water. That's pretty plain. So the minister, for his decision to do another CEC hearing, that's strictly up to the minister. The part that I can agree with is the funding. Should he go with a CEC hearing, then I would be in agreement to have the participant funding granted to our line in the sand. But for us to, well, maybe what we'll do is what the resolution's going to read first. That's kind of what I'd be more leaning towards as well. So maybe if we can listen to what the reading or the resolution will be.
Okay, sorry, I'm a little confused on what the resolution is supposed to say. So at this point, am I unmuted?
Yeah.
I don't believe a CEC hearing has been called yet. So until that happens, you can't request intervener status. So is the resolution requesting that a CEC hearing be held and that participant funding assistance be authorized? Okay.
I would like to maybe put something in there. Should the CEC not be required or not be designated by the minister, that participant funding should still, well, then it wouldn't be required. So yeah, so this, the way it's written, I guess, is fine.
Okay, so that was moved by Councillor Warren and seconded by Councillor Miller.
Yeah.
Whereas Sio Silica Corporation has submitted an Environmental Act license proposal for a silica sand extraction project within the RM of Springfield, file 6275.00. Be it resolved that Council of the RM of Springfield formally requests that the Minister of Conservation and Climate deem this project an issue that needs a full review and refer it to the Clean Environment Commission for a full investigation and authorize the participant assistance program.
Okay. Then with that being read, I'll pose the question. The first question is those in support, the show of hands. That's Councillors Warren, Miller, Kuczynski, and Fuel. And those opposed, be myself, Mayor Therrien, and it is so passed. I just want to put it on the record. The reason it's the the act, that it's not up to us to make a CEC hearing. So I don't think we should be making comments to something to the minister that's not even on the table yet. I am for the participant funding should the CEC go through, but the way the wording is, that's why I posed it there. So that's that. And the next one is a 10.12, I guess that would be. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the press release for Councillor Kuczynski, Warren or Miller and Tarian? Councillor Kuczynski.
Thank you. I would say it's not a press release, but it's a local notice. So, but meaning same thing. So I want to know why this was released and who authorized the release. That wasn't done by council.
That was the one on what? Your
meeting
form?
October 22nd, 2025, and Cooks Creek.
I thought we've already answered that question.
No, I want you to answer this publicly, please.
Well, I thought we did answer it publicly.
No, you didn't.
Then I'll. It was authorized by administration. I approved it. And that's it.
Really? So council really doesn't matter for you anymore. It just
what doesn't matter?
One man show in this municipality.
No, it's administration. Administration was preparing it. It was prepared, and I said, fine. That sounds
okay.
good.
Okay, that's fine. So resident gonna see that.
Sure.
Now, second, I have this notice said not sanctioned by the full council.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for being sanctioned. We just meet with a resident. Why we have to be sanctioned?
Because it wasn't sanctioned.
Why was even stated that it was not sanctioned? We didn't ask for it.
But we have to clarify that. I was sitting in Tim Hortons there, and we're looking at the sign, and not everybody, most of the people are saying, well, what's going on here? You guys are having this? I said, no, this isn't a sanctioned meeting. This is strictly from the two councillors there. And there's other emails and conversations there. We have to get the clarity out to the public that that's not a sanctioned meeting. It's not sanctioned. So I don't know what more you can actually say about that.
Okay.
We've had the same media release there for other open houses that you had. It's not a sanctioned meeting.
Okay. So if our meeting was not sanctioned, how come your meetings in the Tim Hortons and other facility you said that store everything? Why are they sanctioned? Did you ask us?
Did I ask you for what? Do I need permission?
Because you
do
have
I need permission to go out and have coffee
outside of this chamber?
Do I need? Did you have sanction to go see Ken Drysdale when you went there to the RM of St. Clement's?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well then, if I'm having coffee with somebody there, what does that have to do with you? What does it have to do with you at all?
No, because you have meetings with the residents.
So what? I meet with lots of residents. Every time I sit down having
did you get
hockey
sanctioned?
with my buddies.
We're gonna make notice that mayor meeting with the residents and it's not sanctioned.
It's not sanctioned. Okay, fine.
Well, it's fine.
Then
okay,
go
so
ahead.
we're gonna ask for that.
Go ahead. I couldn't think of anything more dumber than that comment.
That's it. Yeah.
That's about one of the dumbest comments I've ever heard.
Okay, of course, yeah. You're the best, Mayor. Secondly, I want to ask, you make statement in the press that define point by point each of this, every piece of misinformation you claim arose from October 22nd. What misinformation did we set on this meeting that you're stating to the press? I want you to mention misinformation, what we did. Councillor Fuel was there. Councillor Warren was there. You wasn't there, but you have your opinion. How did you arise for that opinion that you're making those statements, that we sending misinformation to our residents?
Well, first of all, the Plan 2050 is not even in effect. It's been shelved for the last year. Ken Drysdale, like that's for a year ago. That Plan 2050.
Do you, Mr. Mayor, really understand what's going on in this whole thing or not? We said WMR 2050. It was stated on the boards and everything else. Nobody said that. And Ken Drysdale actually explained to our residents what that plan 2050 presented, because not residents didn't know what presented, so it was explained to them how many flaws it have. That was scrapped. But our community, because you didn't present it to anybody, we didn't have meeting on the WMR.
Oh,
So
we've had
that's-
lots of meetings, Andy. Come on.
Where?
We've been
Where
talking.
with the public
We've been
we have
talking about
meeting?
Plan 2050 for long.
Where did
I've
we
been
have
letting.
meeting
I've
with
been
our
giving you all this stuff there to read. If you're not reading it, then that's up to you.
public?
Well,
didn't
am I
know.
going to put? We were elected here to look at these issues, and that's what we're doing.
Okay. Okay,
God,
that's
if
fine.
you want to bring
we get the
17,000
answer.
people
So
to every
next
hearing,
one needs define what you mean by
listen,
meeting.
Andy, you want one thing here. If I'm going to be interrogated here, do it some other time.
It's not interrogated.
It is so.
It's
all,
not
all you're
interrogation.
doing,
I
all
ask
you're
you
doing
to.
is
I
coming up
ask
with
you
a
to
list of
answer
things.
question.
Let me see your list. Let me see your list that
you
you've got
make
written
those
for you.
statements.
Let me see your list,
No.
Andy. Well,
I'm
then,
going
if
to
I don't
ask
want
you
to
a
see,
question. You answer questions first.
let me see your
Define
list.
what you mean by meeting was a weaponized. What did that mean? We weaponize meeting.
And where was that written?
And then in the paper,
Well,
you
show
should
me
know.
where. Show me.
You read the paper. That's what you
I didn't read
said on
that.
the
I
paper.
didn't read
Okay,
that.
I'm going to provide you with the paper.
Well, provide it now, because otherwise,
Okay.
this is an interrogation, and I'm not here to sit around to be
Next
interrogated.
Next one. Elaborate on the confusion you claim to our community. What confusion? We have meeting with 300 people. Nobody come up to me and said I'm confused.
I've had lots of people come up to me and ask me, "What is this? This is a meeting for the RM." It's not a meeting for the RM. It's a meeting by two councillors. That's all it is. And I've had lots of discussions about
How come
that.
nobody come to me and talk to me like
Well,
that?
then
On
what am I to
everything,
say?
everybody going to you and you know, I think you're the most confused person in this whole thing.
I can't get a hold of you at the best of times anytime there, Andy.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how anybody else can get a hold of you. It is so. I said it. What are you standing beside me when I make these calls? Arrogant because you're acting like a. Go ahead, Andy. You got another. You got another. Oh, I never said nothing.
No, not this time, but you do every other time.
You got another question there, Andy. Go ahead. Why don't you just give me that list?
And that
it's obviously you're having
was,
to read. You're having to read from a list that you don't even know what's on the list.
No, I know. It was in a Sun article.
No, it's not.
11,
I think you're just
425.
You've got a list to read.
Statements.
Go ahead. Read your list.
Yeah.
Why don't you just give me the list, and I could have answered all those questions. But no, you want to be doing your electioneering here.
Temper.
Okay,
Not temper. You have no idea.
I know I don't. Did you just hear that? This isn't even his real temper. Unbelievable. I hate to be in a back lane with you. I know you'd take me out. I know you would.
Okay,
go ahead, Andy. That's the kind of guy you are. Beat the crap out of people.
Oh yeah. I've never beat the hell out of anybody. Go ahead, Andy. What's the next interrogation
next one,
question?
you said that we're spreading misinformation. The RM sanction meetings are not recorded or documented. What that means? Our meeting was recorded.
I don't even know what you said there.
Was documented.
I don't even know what you said. Say it again.
Yeah. You are in fact spreading misinformation, Mr. Mayor, that RM sanctions meetings are not recorded and documented.
Well, they're not documented and they're not recorded. So what more do you want me to say?
Our meeting was documented and recorded.
Yours was?
Yes.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions there, Andy?
Yes, I have here.
Why don't you just give me that list that was provided to you?
Yes, I give you. Don't rush. Just
you're
gonna get the list.
Why don't you just give me the questions and I can just go by them? You have to read what the questions are. I can just do the same thing. Was it typed for you to read that, or is it handwritten?
No, I mean, no, I typed it. Yeah,
okay.
I don't have any problem reading. Cannot you interrupt? Like I didn't
interrupt
you when you're looking for information. Why are you interrupting constantly? Just sit, relax yourself,
because
and if I ask you a question, you can answer. You constantly have to talk.
Okay. What's the next question? Yeah.
Okay. Next, I want to. Why we canceled the meeting in December with our residents? and Anola.
So I was contacted by a counselor. I think it was a email to all of us that said December was the worst time to have something, religious events, Christmas concerts. And so administration made the decision to cancel it and we'll rebook in January after the busy holiday season.
And which counselor did you send that information? Because I didn't see it. Or which counselor give you the information, provide the information?
Well, I guess if Councillor Miller, I guess, had sent it.
There's your answer.
I said
Andy.
it as well,
So Councillors Miller and Warren said that.
because it's too hectic. December is, everybody has their Christmas dinners, parties, and Christmas concerts, and many people have grandchildren. I don't yet. You know, and they have big families that they get together, and big families don't necessarily get together right at Christmas because they can't fit everybody in the same room. So moving it to January, when people aren't going out as much to soccer or Christmas concerts or church, or is much better.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I ask which counselor make that recommendation to CEO that cancel the meeting. So it's only you? Okay. No, who else make that decision? Glenn Fuel, did you make, Councillor Fuel? No?
Yeah, I think I can ante up. I think I probably also did because I have so many events. Building on that, I think it would be beneficial maybe in January, February, but the format be much different. Like again, we can draw 300 people. You know, the RM can draw 10 people. So there's a disconnect. There's something not working. If we keep repeating and making errors like this and not having engaging opportunities with the public, you know, I don't want to say we shouldn't have them, but we can do better, right?
I think we are listening to the feedback we've received from council. We canceled the December date because of all the conflicts. We are working with the Collegiate Institute in Oakbank to try to get the gym. They unfortunately can't give us a date till mid-December when they get their sports activities laid out for the year. So January, we would be looking at hosting that at the gym at the school and have, you know, a set agenda with items with discussion and then an open session at the end.
Yeah, we want to have meeting in the collegiate and they said they cannot have, what do you call the caretaker too. So they said we cannot have, you guys cannot have meeting in our school because we don't have caretaker. We said, we're going to pay for caretaker. And they said no. And that was coming from the school board. They went to the school board to ask for it and they didn't get it. So because instead having meeting in Cooks Creek, we want to have it in a school because it's, you know, we need facility that is bigger and they refuse us to
the school board
host
directed us directly to the school and we've been dealing with the school and they have not said no. They're just can't give us their timeline yet for January. So once we get that, we'll bring some dates back to council to set that.
So we have to ask now school board why they refuse us and they accepting CAO having meeting there. That shouldn't be play politics, you know. It should be everybody should be treated equally.
It sounds like everything's a conspiracy to you, Andy.
That's conspiracy. Asking question, it's conspiracy. Like I
wasn't part of your conversation, so I have no idea what their
answer?
reasoning was. But
That's I said. That's why we're gonna question that, and we're gonna find out what's happening. Yeah. Thank you,
Deputy Mayor.
Having said that, I make a recommendation to all council to let administration know what topics they want to be held and put your input from all of us so that we don't criticize each one another how to handle an open house or an open forum. Let's all work together and put our input in and make it successful for the whole RM of Springfield. Thank you.
Very good idea. Very good. Okay, I guess that's it. Then maybe we'll go into close meeting there. That's item 11 at 8:19. Can I get a mover and a seconder to go into a closed meeting? Warren and Kuczynski. Show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Thank you. We are back from closed meeting there. We had discussions on negotiations and personal matters there. So if I get a mover and a seconder to come out of a closed meeting, and then we'll go straight to adjournment. Miller and Warren. I get a show of hands to come out of the closed meeting and adjournment. That was unanimous, so carried there. And we're adjourning at 8:39. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.